This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you in part by Icom America. Okay, welcome to all of our listeners back out there on WBCQ tonight. We're glad Robert got the transmitter fixed. I heard that Robert had a drink, one or two too many, and he tripped over the power cord last week, but he will not admit it. So we're going to try to get the official reason it was off the air a little later. And Robert's in the chat room if you guys want to hound him about what the problem was. But today is Tuesday, April 18th. And this is Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB. And we've got a good show lined up for you tonight. We're just missing one of our guests, that's all. But we're gonna do okay. We're just gonna rearrange things a little bit, and we'll still make the show just perfect. So let's see. First, join our Facebook group at the top of the web page. There it says Facebook, Twitter. Click on that, join our Facebook group, and you'll be able to see where we're going and what we're doing. And it's a good ham radio thing just to post your ham radio ideas in. Let's go out to Sundance, yeah, Wyoming, and let's see if we can find Katie. Katie, are you there, Katie?
I am here.
Cool.
Hey, everybody.
Cool. Okay, we've got Katie here.
I just kicked my cat under the table. Oops.
Oh, man. All right. So we got Katie on here tonight. Let's see if I can even get in a picture here. Oh, boy, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Yeah, there I am. I'm in here. Okay. So we got Katie on here. Katie, what have you been up to lately this week?
Well, let's see. I did a little bit of traveling over the weekend. Dwayne and I went out to Fargo to visit my stepson, who's also a ham. Just had a couple of days off, so we thought we'd take advantage of that and did a little sightseeing while we were out there. And actually learned a couple neat things. We went to a couple of museums, and one of them, which was really kind of neat, and I will completely butcher the name of it, but it's the Yumkost Center, and it is basically there was a guy back in the 80s who had a dream of creating a Viking ship and sailing it to Norway, and he actually did it. He built it, and unfortunately in the process he developed leukemia. Although he made it through the end of it being built, he never actually got to take it on its voyage, but his kids did, and it's really neat. And one of the things we discovered was that there was ham radio involved in that voyage, and there was a net that was run and helped keep them in communications throughout their voyage. So I thought I'd show you a couple of quick pictures. They're just real quick here. 1 second, let me do this.
Yeah, and Dave is with us. Dave is in the chat room.
Oh, he is? Oh,
yeah,
good.
but he's not online yet, and he's going to try to figure out what's going wrong there. Okay.
I realize this probably won't work super for it, but
I can read it.
If we have anybody out there that is Norwegian, they will be able to let us know. But the Yemkost net, as it says up here, the H is for helping, the A stands for all, and the M stands for mankind, helping all of mankind, and that's what it means to me. And this is what one of the folks mentioned. Let me change the page. This is Hans Christian Holland, Lima Alpha 2 Echo Golf, and he was in Norway, and he became the primary contact between the Yumkost and reporters in his basement, providing all of the information and updates. And again, there was also a regular net. And this Viking ship, which I couldn't even get the whole picture of it in, but right here, if you can see in front of the American flag, is an antenna, a ham antenna. So we took a couple pictures of that. It's a really neat facility. So if you're ever in the Moorhead, Minnesota, Fargo area, highly recommend going to take a visit at it. It's really a really neat thing. So I'm going to turn off this sharing there. And so that was kind of cool. And we went over to the Fargo Air Museum, and lots of neat old planes that they actually still fly. And they had a really nice memorial tribute to Vietnam veterans. There was a Boy Scout that did his Eagle Scout project and had replicas of dog tags made. and we're hanging on a giant board with all of the soldiers whose lives were lost. It was very heartwarming, and it was another nice part of the trip. And of course, we saw helicopters and the display case along with the other communication devices, so that was kind of neat. And then that's about it for me, recent activities. And of course, happy World Amateur Radio Day to everybody.
It's the 92nd anniversary of the IARU.
Right. Yep. I guess on the 18th of every year, or April 18th, we get radio amateurs worldwide that'll get on the air to celebrate World Amateur Radio Day. And it was on this day in 1925 that the IARU was formed, and it was formed in Paris. And so today, apparently, there's now over 3 million licensed operators around the world. And so the IARU member societies can get out, get on the air, and show off all that we can do. So a lot of activities. A lot of people were on social media sharing for World Amateur Radio Day, and then also obviously various modes of being on the air. And my friend Aletta Sam down in Utah, I mentioned last week, she had just gotten her upgrade. She said she was on an Echolink net this today. There was several different groups that had networked together and conferenced, and she said she had a lot of fun with that. I thought that was kind of a really neat way of showcasing another opportunity to get on the air.
Well, that's cool. And I didn't know much about this World AM Radio Day that you mentioned. I just saw it, I think, yesterday. So
yep.
I'm learning about it. And let me get Dave on here with us real quick. Dave's in there. So awesome. Everybody stand by. We're going to add Dave to the call here.
Hey. I'm going to grab a swig of water.
Okay. We're almost there.
There he is.
Let's see. We don't have a picture yet with Dave.
I see him.
I see his picture at the bottom.
Did you get the little thing about accepting his video? That popped up for me already.
Well, let's see what's going on here. We might have to try to connect with him one more time.
Okay.
I'm
seeing. Okay.
Well, he's not there now.
Oh.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay, he's there.
Here.
Okay, Dave, are you in the dark? Do you have the lights turned off? That's what it is.
No.
Let me show everybody what I'm looking at here. Guys, there's Dave right there.
Well,
yes, Dave right there. Now, Katie, let's see if we can get you on, Katie. There's Katie. See, there's Katie, but
see, now you can see him.
Now we got him. Hey, Dave, how you doing, man? I tell you, we wondered what happened to you. Are you hearing us okay, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, I'm setting some camera shots up here. Let's see.
There we go.
All right, we'll get this thing running here in a minute. Okay, we got you back. We got Katie back. Great. Okay, so let's see, Katie.
Yep.
There we go.
What else was going on, Katie, while we got you on here? Let's see.
Oh, well, I thought I would just mention something that's kind of neat that I'm sure the listeners would be interested in case you hadn't heard the news yet. Icom America has a really neat sweepstakes happening right now. It's the Hams to Japan sweepstakes. They are actually giving away a trip for two to the Tokyo Ham Fair. And if you go to the Facebook and go to the Icom America page, there is a place where you can click on it, or you can just go to icomamerica.com /H2JA. So that's Hotel to Japan Alpha. And it looks like you can enter weekly, but if you go there and find out the information, you can find out the logistics and what you need to do to enter. But it looks like it's a pretty easy process, and I don't believe any purchase is required, but you could win a pretty cool trip to Japan to go to the Tokyo Ham Fair. So check that out.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I might have to enter it, although I've been over there a number of times. Not sure I really need to go back. I might leave it for somebody else.
I would like to go to that ham fair. We've talked about going there and to Friedrichshafen someday. So those are on the bucket list.
Yeah, I think the Germany will be on my next one there. So, Dave, do you hit any big ham fest anywhere, Dave?
Oh, I was at the Yuma Ham Fest a little while ago, and we're getting ready for our own little ham fest here in western Colorado in Delta that's coming up the first weekend in June. So I need to go around through my stuff and collect what I don't need so I can take it there and then come home with a bunch of stuff that I don't need. Different stuff, of course.
All right, that's great. I was hoping you'd make it to the Dayton Hamvention this year, where we get to see you.
I haven't completely ruled it out. I suppose I should sit down and see what that would entail. It's still a month away, and I try to do things at least a day or two early. So I'm not quite there yet.
Well, you got a few days left here. All right, so let's see what's happening here. My producer's yelling at me. We're behind schedule, but we're going to make it up here. Let's see. So let's do this, Dave. Let's jump. Hey, let me also just a couple things here. We kind of got off on a funny start today. We're going to be giving a prize away to one of our viewers tonight. So everybody stick around for Hambot. We're going to give a prize away, and we'll explain how that works in a little while. And the show tonight's going to be about antennas, and we've got Emmett Hohensee, W0QH, the chief engineer of Radio Waves, back with us. That's always a good show. He talks about antennas, and we've already got some questions in here. But we're gonna keep Dave on here. We're gonna do a little segment with Dave about antennas and a few things. And if you got any questions for Dave, this is your chance right now for Ask Dave. Put your question in the chat room, and Katie is going to check it out, and she's going to read them out to us. So Dave, let's jump over to you real quick, and let's jump into antennas here. So we're going to be talking about antennas tonight, Dave. What kind of antenna you got, Dave?
Well, it's interesting you should mention that because one just arrived via FedEx a few minutes ago, and that's this MFJ loop antenna that you see right here. It's supposed to handle up to 100 watts, and it's got a little control thing for inside the shack. I also recently unboxed a Chameleon CHAP loop, HF loop. I had it outside last night with my little BITX40 radio, and it's a great receive antenna. So I'll be doing comparative tests this week. The antenna I use for real is a vertical, just a ground-mounted vertical, nothing more exotic than that, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So that's what I'm doing here.
Well, that's good. Now, Dave, do you live in a HOA area where you have trouble with antennas?
No, I don't. And in fact, when we were looking for property here about 15 years ago, we were looking specifically for a place that did not have an anti-antenna element in the covenants. And we found this place here. It was a really old tract that was put together many years ago, supposedly for people who just wanted to camp on their land. It's turned into a regular residential subdivision, but there are no antenna restrictions. The only antenna restriction I have for putting up a 50-foot tower and a great big beam is a great big hole in my wallet. Otherwise, everything's okay.
Well, you're going to have to tell us about that story one night. So, there's a lot of antennas. There's so many antennas. There's more different type antennas out there than there are radios, and that's what's interesting. And one of the things I found, and I have a friend here, and he was wanting something that was kind of invisible and would work good. And one of the best things I've found for people like that want to work every band and have a very low SWR and very efficient is something like one of these little auto antenna tuners. Put it out under the eave of the house, run the coax in the house, put you a piece of wire on there, and it'll tune just about any band. So you don't have to worry about having an antenna just for 80 or 15 or 20. And it's just it's really cool that will work just about anywhere. I think it goes up through 6 meters plus you can use small wire and people can't even see the antenna. We put it up and we can't even find it.
Well, that's good. The MFJ makes their, I think it's the 993B, is an automatic antenna tuner. I have one, I've used it, and I can verify it works really well. After a while, it's memorized all the frequencies you use, so it'll just pop right to them. And yeah, a random length wire like that will work well.
Yeah, and you know, I think that the one you're talking about is the one that I was mentioning. Like I use the SG237. It's a SGC product. It's kind of like, I think the MFJ is similar. And I like putting the antenna out at the feed point. You know, I know people run these antenna tuners inside the shack and they run it on coax, but you know, that's kind of, I think you can be much more efficient by putting the antenna, the tuner out at the antenna. For instance, it's 130 feet out to my antenna farm out there, and it's all underground. And I really don't think it'd be cool to tune the underground coax out to the antenna out there. So,
well, you're absolutely right. When you have a high SWR situation like that, you're doing a good job of heating your transmission line. So there are other antenna tuners made by a few different vendors, including ASU, that will go right at the feed point of the antenna and handle that high SWR and give you a much, much more efficient system.
Katie, anything coming in? I saw one question.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've collected 3 so far.
Okay, well, let's shoot them out there real fast.
All right, well, the first one comes in from Bill, W4EWH. He'd like to know if buried radials improve a vertical's performance, or will some above-ground radios do as well?
Well, I'll just give you my experience. When I first put up my Butternut HF9V, I buried some bare radials for the thing, and I was very unhappy with the performance. So I got some more wire, just insulated wire, and laid it out on the ground, just on top of the ground, and found that the improvement was substantial. And here, a year and a half ago, I laid out a bunch more radials on top of that, and it improved the performance even more. So I know there's a lot of debate about radials. My radials are random length, 25 feet-ish long.
Yep.
I would go with insulated radials sitting on the surface of the ground.
Okay, awesome. And
hey, and let me just say, I think tonight we're going to see a video you made about radials.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, to answer that question. What else we got, Katie?
Well, K4KKP is wondering if you have any ideas for a balcony antenna. He's going to be moving into an apartment on a 3rd floor, but he has a balcony he can use. Any thoughts on that?
Well, there's 2 approaches, both from MFJ. There is a balcony antenna that clips to the balcony railing that's basically a whip antenna, and then a counterpoise that you kind of string in the house somewhere. That kind of thing does work. The other is the antenna that I just got today, the MFJ loop, which can be mounted horizontally from the balcony, and it just sticks out about 3 feet. And what I've seen on YouTube is it does pretty well, and you can tune that. And I think with the magnetic loop, you get higher level of coupling than you would with a short whip.
Cool.
You got another one, Katie?
Yep. Let's see. W4EWH again. He had do magnetic loops make as much of a difference tuning that noise as he's heard, apparently?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm going to be doing some testing this week, as a matter of fact. When I put the chameleon loop out last night, and I was sitting on the porch, we're finally getting some good weather, and just tuning across the band, I was very pleased with how well I was hearing without a lot of noise or anything like that. So I'm pleased with it. In general, loops are considered to be quieter than verticals. Verticals are considered to be noisier than dipoles.
Yeah.
That's good info. Do you want to keep going? I got one more.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more and then play the video.
All right, we're back to talking again also about, we've got Dave KM4IEV. He's looking for a stealth antenna because he does live in an HOA. He has a very small patio but no balcony, but his patio is between a couple of stucco buildings. He's got about 15 by 20 feet to work with. He does have an attic, but the east wall is stucco, and he's running QRP, so that's like the trifecta of stuff for you to figure out, Dave.
Wow.
Well, it's difficult. I don't recommend QRP for people who are just getting onto HF because it requires skill above and beyond just normal HF contacts. But some people have no choice. One thing he could try is what Tom was talking about earlier, is taking a wire, running it around the eaves in front of the house, and then all the way back to that back fence, and then back up to where he can get a feed line to it. And then he could use that with the tuner and probably do some pretty good things. There are, if they don't mind antennas in the backyard, the Cushcraft, it's high gain. It's a high gain AV640. Antenna is 28 feet high and requires no radials. Now it can be put up. In fact, it wants to be put up away from the ground. But I would recommend against any kind of antenna in there with radials. You just don't really have much room for them. But the R5, R7, R9 antennas, the problem is these antennas are all in the range of around $400 to $500. And none of them, no vertical antenna, will ever perform better than a plain old dipole. Mm-hmm. So you're just fighting for that last dB.
Well, and we're gonna have Emmett on here in a little while, and I'm sure Emmett, the chief engineer from Radio Waves, he's gonna probably tell us what he thinks would be a good antenna for this specific use. But again, I tell you, you can't beat a little auto antenna tuner out at the antenna. I mean, you can take an 8-foot piece of wire. I think an 8-foot piece of wire will tune 80 through 6 meters. And you can use small wire, number 24 wire. You can take it out to a tree, out to a bush, throw it over the house, leave it on the roof of the house. Just get a piece of wire up, and I guarantee you it'll work. Hey, Dave, let's go ahead and you got a video here. We want to run real quick. This is about one of the questions that just came up about radials. And also, I think you mentioned, you talk about the MFJ antenna switch. So let's run this video. And you're not going to hear the audio, Dave, but everybody else will. So here we go.
I'm Dave Kassler, welcoming you to episode 10 of Ask Dave. Today is Mailbag Day. I get lots of emails asking questions. And often, if one person has a question, lots of other people have the same question. The first comes from Peter Green, KG7VXX. And Peter, thank you for your question. He notes that there are conflicting opinions on radials for ground-mounted vertical antennas. And what's right? Well, Peter, I agree. There are endless opinions on the right way to install radials. My multiband Butternut HF9V vertical antenna, which performs particularly well on 40 and 20 meters, the two bands I use the most, has 12 buried bare radials. I recently refurbished this antenna and wanted to add more radials. So I went to Home Depot and purchased a 500-foot roll of insulated black 14-gauge house wire and used this to lay out 13 more radials on top of the ground, averaging about 38 feet each. Is this an optimal radial system? By no means. Does it work? Yes. Now, let's look at a table from Chapter 3 of the 20th edition of the ARRL antenna book. This shows the effect of radial systems, from something relatively rudimentary with 16 short radials to a so-called perfect radial system with 120 radials. Now, here's the line that's important. We see that a vertical antenna with an imperfect radial system loses as much as 3 dB of gain. Wow, that's half the power, right? Well, that's true. That's like putting 100 watts into the antenna and only 50 are left over for radiating. So the other ham receiving your signal will see your signal 3 dB down from what it might have been had you put in a perfect system. That's 1/2 of an S unit. Truthfully, that's hardly worth mentioning. Another way of looking at this is, if you already have a minimal radial system, the most you can get out of improving it, no matter how much you spend on copper wire, is 3 dB. Normal signal strength fluctuations are far more than that. Well, you say, what about on receive? Yes, the gain is 3 dB less, again half an S unit, but the noise also drops by about the same amount. So, with a mild increase in gain, you can hear the other station just fine. The bottom line here, yes, more radials are better, but you don't need to get extravagant to have a perfectly functional antenna. Peter also notes that his vertical is not located in a place where he can get good radials in a nice symmetric pattern. Is this a problem? No, Peter, it isn't. You put the radials where you can, bending them around obstacles and so on. Now, the next question comes from Dick, W1REJ. And Dick, thank you for your question. Dick is contemplating putting in an Ameritron RCS4 remote coax switch so that he can use one long coax feed line for several antennas. There is no control cable for this, and he wonders how it can work. Here's how it works. The coaxial transmission line has a single inner conductor and an outer conducting shield. It carries RF from the transmitter to the antenna. Well, let's put big capacitors here, and a couple inductors here and here. The RF flows through the capacitors nicely, but is blocked by the inductors. If you apply a DC potential here, the capacitor blocks it from going into the rig or into the antenna, but the DC can flow nicely through the inductors. This is a relay. When a DC control voltage is applied here, it appears here and operates the relay, thus switching antennas. Pretty cool, huh? Be sure to ground the box case at the receiving end and also at the transmitting end to keep RF out of the control circuit. Now, I do point out that rather than buying the coax switch, you can buy quite a bit of additional coax for the same price so that each antenna has its own feed line. It's a trade-off that depends on individual circumstances. Bill
We go. Okay. Had to hit the right button there. Okay. Well, hey, that was interesting, and I think you said you did that radio a long time ago, and since you made improvements with a ground ring and a few things, right?
Yeah, a radial plate from DX Engineering, which just gave me something to really secure those radials to the antenna.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, again, my producer's yelling at me again. We're just a little behind, but that's okay because we're the boss, right, on the show anyway. All right, so, you know, hey, I was very interested in the part there about the antenna switcher because I have one of those RCS4s, and I noticed mine was not working well. I had all kinds of, seems like funny things going on. When I turned the switch inside, all 4 lights were clicking on and off, but I knew something was wrong, and I thought, I've got some bad antennas out there. So, you know, I bought the box in, Dave, and took it apart so I could look at it and I thought there was something wrong with the switching. And when I first opened it, I thought maybe they had a chip in there and it sent a little data stream down to select, 1 through 4, because I knew it went across the coax cable. But it didn't. But what I found out was they actually use 4 different voltages. They use 0 volts, 12 volts, and minus 12 volts. And guess what? AC. 12 volts AC.
Yeah.
And I looked and I thought, this is not right, because I had probably a year ago plugged in a 12 volt DC pack into the back of that switch over there. Everything looked good on the front here. The lights would all flip and everything, but I was not sending the right voltages down the line. So even though most things are 12 volt DC, guys, always check the requirements, and that RCS4 requires a 12 volt AC adapter. So there you are. Even I have to troubleshoot things sometimes. Well, Dave and Katie, let's see, it's 8:30. I think we need to move on to our next segment here. We're going to bring in Troy Johnson from Cydia Corporation, and he's making some new cable ties, and he's going to be at Dayton, and we just wanted to show his ties, and he's even going to give one away. We're going to have Hambot give one away in a few minutes. And guys, I will explain in a minute after we get Troy on here how Hambot works. But let's, Dave, I'm going to drop you and Katie off. I'm sure there'll be more questions for you in the chat room. And let me get Troy on here, and then after that we'll be bringing up Emmett.
Sounds good.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thanks. We'll see you, 73. All right, let's see if we can get Troy in here. Where's Troy? Troy is up in, I don't know, up east somewhere, I think. Hey, there's Troy. Hey, how you doing, Troy?
Oh, not too bad.
All right, let me get you pulled in. There you go. That's much better. So, hey, Troy, we got just a couple minutes here, but I thought it'd be cool to talk about your product here, because we're going to give one away tonight to some lucky viewer here. And hey, first, tell me, you started making these in a barn or something, and using horse manure, is what I understand, for power?
We did. We were founded in 2007 by my partner John Nimkowski and I. Our first shop was actually on a big dairy farm that has a anaerobic digester, which uses the cow manure, the methane, to produce their own electricity. So we manufactured our reusable ties using green energy. So kind of a neat concept.
Okay. All right. So these ties are really unique. Now, I've got a little video here we'll run real quick to show the people what these ties are, because I think there's going to be a lot of people interested. So let's play the video real quick. And again, Troy, you're not going to hear the audio, but it's going out. So stand by, and here we go.
Today I would like to demonstrate a couple of our products that we manufacture here at Cydia Corporation. First, we have our quick strip tie. Then we have our quick labels. Now the labels are packaged and grouped together with 2 different sizes. You have one small and one large label. You need to determine which size is best for your application. And these products can be used in numerous applications, but today I'm going to use them to secure and identify a small length of electrical wires. Using the tie, you want to wrap it around your electrical wires or whatever application you deem. Using the arrow end of the tie, you want to feed it through the last cell. Tighten and secure. And whichever label you prefer, you want to feed that arrow in through the hole at the end of the label. Loop it around and feed the arrow through an empty cell. Tighten and secure. You notice we have an excess amount of tie off the end of it. Now you can simply cut or tear that end tie and reuse on the same length of cable or a different application. Again, going through the end cell. And you can continue to reuse the remaining balance of the tie until there's no more available. And you can simply write on these labels with a permanent marker to identify whatever product you wish. You want to let the permanent marker dry. Once it's dried, you can't smudge it. You can remove it using an alcohol-based solution.
All right, well, Troy, that was a great demonstration. Already in the chat room, there's a number of people saying they like the idea. Kathy, my producer here, has already said she wants some. So it looks like you've already sold a bunch on the show tonight.
Well, that's good. I say we offer two different 12-inch ties. The one that in the video was the quick strip. This is the standard tie. This was the original. It's a little bit less expensive than the quick strip, but the quick strip is more user friendly. You can undo it easier. And then we also offer a 22-inch heavy duty tie, along with the labels and stuff. So great product. I use them all around the house. The computers, electronics, amateur radio, auto stores, and we even have a bouquet company we make a garden green for that uses them to tie bouquets with. So many uses for them.
All right, well, they want to know if you're going to be in Dayton. Tell us where you're going to be. They're all lining up to come by and see you.
We'll be in the flea market this year in booth 7323.
All right, 7323, and you'll have plenty of them, won't you?
Yep, we're just almost finishing up what production we're taking probably tomorrow. So,
in fact, I had some pictures that you had posted on Facebook. Your production line for Dayton. You had a big stack of them out there, but I can't find a picture. But you're making plenty to take to Dayton, right?
Yep.
And one last question, real quick. They want to know if they're UV type. Will the sun hurt them or?
They are UV resistant. I've used them outside. They'll eventually, of course, wear down. But I've had one out, for at least a couple years. They'll yellow a little bit, but they're still maintain their strength. So. Okay.
And let me also give people your call. We're talking here with Troy Johnson, KC3CYR. If you want to look him up, KC3CYR. Look him up at QRZ.com. And is the company called Cydia?
Cydia Corp.
Cydia Corp.
It was actually a woman involved. It was kind of, her two kids were Sydney and Sophia. So it was kind of morphed. That was our company name at one time. And she's no longer with us, but her kids are still part of our company, kind of.
All right, great. Well, hey, you got me sold. You got my wife sold. I guess I'm going to have to come by and see you. And hey, in Dayton, bring a package or two by to our booth. We're in 5006, and get on the show and show them, because you've donated, I think, 3 packages of these to give out as prizes. So come by the show and hold them up, and we'll try to give some of them away while you're there. So let's do Hambot. Let's give away a prize. Now, before we do Hambot, let me tell everybody how it works. Our Hambot is our in-house developed program that randomly picks a person's name in the chat room. Hambot is going to call your name for this prize. You have to respond just by typing yes, I'm here, or yes, or hit a period, or anything. Just you got to type something so we'll know you're here. Just type in the word here. All right. Please, everybody, don't chat during the prize giveaway. Everybody stop chatting. Now, here's the deal, and we ran into this last time. If you guys logged on with duplicate names, for instance, if you've logged on as W5KUB, and you're also logged in as Tom-W5KUB, and you're also logged in as W5KUB-Tom, well, whatever we call, that's the one you have to answer with. If you call W5KUB-Tom, you got to answer with it. You cannot answer with W5KUB. So we'll make those clear up front. The video is not in sync with Hambot. Hambot's going to count down 60 seconds to give the prize away. If no one claims it, Hambot will pick another name, and we'll keep going till we get a winner. But again, the video audio here is not in sync with the time on Hambot. We're about 40 seconds delayed here in some places. So Hambot is the official time. So are we about ready? Let me run Hambot here. And we're getting a phone call. Okay. Well, this will give me a chance to explain Hambot a little bit more. Okay, so guys, that's Hambot right there. We'll be back we'll be giving it away in a minute. My producer, Miss Kathy, had to answer the telephone. Okay, she's back. Okay, I just ran Hambot. They saw what Hambot looked like, and we're about ready to do a prize. I'm running Hambot again. We're going to give away a prize. Okay, so I guess we're ready. So here we go. Everybody please stand by except the winner. Is Hambot ready? Looking for a N6HMK. Are you here to claim this prize? He's here. Look at there. We got a winner fast, man. We got a winner in milliseconds, man. Milliseconds. So how you like it? Hey, Troy. I think they were all on the edge of their seat trying to win this prize, right?
Very cool.
So, hey, Troy, just tell me what's involved in a package of these. It's more than just the tie wraps and the.
Yeah, the prize package would be 520 packs. So
520 packs. Okay.
520 packs for a total of 100 ties, assorted colors. We actually offer 10 different colors, so 2 packages of the labels, which has 10 labels per package, and then a assortment of the cable rings we have, which we don't sell a lot of, but they're one of our products. So that'll be what makes up one of the prize packages.
Okay, well, hey, thanks very much for the prize. I'm sorry we have to run. We're running about 30 minutes late in the show already, but I think you've got enough people out there now that have seen this. They're going to come by and see you in your space. 7323 at Dayton.
Correct.
All right. Troy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's do this. Let me make a couple announcements real quick. We're going to see if Emmett is still in here. And we can go a little longer if we have to. I was trying to end the show a little earlier tonight. All right, we want to welcome everybody listening on WBCQ up in Monticello, Maine on 5130. If you're listening to us on shortwave, you can join us. Just go to a computer and get on W5KUB.com, and you can join us and see the video. You can check in the chat room right there. Also, send us a signal report. Tell us where you are and what our signal report is. You can send a signal report to tom@W5KUB.com, tom@W5KUB.com. We'll be going to Dayton in about 4 weeks, and as we have done for the past 13 years, we've webcasted the Dayton Hamvention. It's going to be it's going to be a marathon. You know, watch these marathons on TV of Andy Griffith or some show like that. Well, we're going to be on for 6 days. Let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday. We're going to be on for six days solid, probably 8 hours a day. So you're going to have 40 hours of live streaming video coming to you from the Dayton Hamvention. We go live when we leave the driveway here. You watch us, you follow us in the car or the truck as we drive. You see what happens. You see us get our speeding tickets. You see all those things. Now, so we're going to give away about probably $7,000 or $8,000 in prizes to our viewers out there. If you want to check some of the prizes at the top of the page, click on Prizes Dayton 2017 up in the menu. Prizes Dayton 2017. You'll see some of the prizes we've already got lined up. But they're everything from Fusion handy-talkies to dual band handy-talkies, antenna tuners, everything. And it's free, nothing required. All you got to do is just like we did with Hambot a minute ago, claim the prize if your name is called. There is one exception. We're setting aside one prize. We're setting away one prize to help us raise some funds to help cover the cost of this trip. For us to put on 6 days of a webcast, it's going to cost us somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 for this trip. And we're going to, like last year, we've got one prize here that we're going to give to all of our supporters that might be lucky enough to win it. For every $10 that you donate, we're going to put your name in the hat for this CAA 500 or a new CAA 500. And for instance, $20 gets you 2 names in, $30, 3 names in the hat. And as I mentioned last week, if you donate $1,000, we'll put your name in a hat, not 100 times, but 101 times. We'll give you an extra one to go in a hat. But this is a cool antenna analyzer. This is one of the best I've seen. It has a LCD right here, and it will actually plot. It will plot the SWR from a center frequency. It goes from 1.8 to 500 megahertz, and this is the CAA 500 Mark II. It feels like a brick. It's about as heavy as a brick. It's solid. It's a metal case. This helps to support our trip, and we really appreciate anybody that wants to donate to help cover the expenses of this trip. So that's what we're doing. You saw how Hambot worked. Now, so let's see if I can get Emmett on here now. And well, wait, we got one more thing. Let me do one more thing, and then we'll get Emmett in here. Spring forward. Get out and get mobile with Icom this spring. Base stations, mobile transceivers, handhelds, and more. Icom has all the equipment to help make your spring full of adventure. Communicate with the touch of your fingertips. Perfect for small places, the IC7100 base station is the ideal D-Star option to help those communicate anywhere. It has angled control head and touchscreen for quick, intuitive operation, a large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multi-band and all-mode communications. Travel outdoors and enjoy the spring air. Back for a limited time, the IC7200 is a great option for hams wanting a device to carry out into the field. It is simple and tough with IFDSP, digital noise reduction, and a USB port for PC control. Ideal for the ham on the go, try the IC7300. It's a high-performance, innovative ATF transceiver with a compact design. It has RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large 4.3 color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and an SD memory card. All right, so let's see if I couldn't get Emmett. Emmett didn't answer. Emmett, answer Skype. We're running just late. Let's see. Let's see where Emmett is. All right, well, I'll talk for a minute while we're trying to get Emmett on here. Emmett, call me. Let me tell Emmett. Okay, his iPad picked up. Okay, I'm gonna try again, Emmett. Here we go. I'll try again. See, Emmett has too many devices. That's the problem. He never knows what the call's coming in on. All right, Emmett, you give me a call if you can. I'll stand by, and Emmett, you call me. All right, so that's kind of where we are on Dayton coming up. We've set aside one prize, but all the other prizes on the prize page goes out to our viewers out there. And here we go.
I'm doing it, Katie.
Are you? Let's see.
Hey, Tom, let me turn off.
Okay.
There we go.
Who is N5EAL?
I have no idea.
He says that you're trying to contact me.
Oh. N5 EAL?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, well, they know you. All right. So look. All right, we got a pretty big picture of your face. Now I went back. I think your camera's zooming in and out, but okay, no problem. Stay where you're going to stay, and let me see if I can fix it here. There we go. Okay, we got you in here. How you doing, Emmett? And first, let me ask, how is your grandson doing?
He's doing good. He went through his surgery today. It started he went in at 7, and they went into surgery at 9. They were done about 1 o'clock, and he had basically, when he was born with half a functioning heart. And what they've been doing is, ever since he was born, they've been performing surgeries to move the functioning components from one side to the side that's working. And this surgery they were putting in some stents and doing some angioplasty and a couple of other things to help improve his circulation. Plus, they needed to check his heart valves. And
wow.
So it was quite traumatic for a 2-year-old when you think about that.
Well, I'm sure. Let me introduce you to all our folks out there that may not know you. We're talking with Emmett Hohensee, W0QH. He's the chief engineer of radio waves. He's on our show regularly talking about antennas. In fact, we always go late and we never finish a segment, and we always start another one and we never finish it. So it's just an interesting topic, and Emmett always has the answers for us. And Emmett, I know you followed some of the earlier comments there, and
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I think
including Katie kicking her kitty.
Yeah, I tell you, I think if you really want a hidden antenna using small wire, random link, and just a little auto antenna tuner outside, I don't think you can beat that. But I'm not the chief engineer of radio waves.
Well,
so what do you think?
The advantage of the coupler is it basically makes up for what the antenna is deficient in fooling the radio itself and thinking it's a perfect match. So that's why it'll generally work. You do better if you can remember the old theory, if you can work with something that's close to being resonant, it's a lot better than something that's not resonant.
Oh yeah.
So if you can get close, you're better off. So you have something that's, say, 16.5 feet long will work a lot better than something that was 12 feet long.
Well, and I agree with that. 16? I agree with it. I try to make all my antennas out there resonant because these antenna tuners are usually good for about 100 watts, or at least the ones I can afford. You get into a 800 watt or 1,000 watt auto tuner, and you're gonna pay big bucks.
That's good for 1,500 watts.
Man,
but I don't use it. That's what's so funny. I do use it, but I don't use it.
So I've got one kind of as a backup to go any band I want. I don't think I've got a resonant antenna up on 12 meters. I'll use that, and it works out really, really well for me. Now, hey, we had a question. We got a question in here. I sent you a kind of a teaser earlier.
The Slinky.
The Brazil. We've got a person in here from Brazil. Yes. And he's asking about the Slinky.
I've been watching him say, please answer the question. As a matter of fact, he said, please answer the question on the Slinky antenna. The one thing about the Slinky antenna is, think about this as a great big coil that you're basically unfolding in a space. It's just a big inductor is what it really is. And it's not necessarily a wire it's kind of, how do I say it? A slinky will work in the sense that you're adding more wire, which will probably give it a little bit more sensitivity. So it'll actually sound better in some cases. The problem you'll run into, though, is the position of the coil over this. Let's say you put a string through the middle of the slinky and you spread it all out. You'll discover that the inductance created by the slinky itself will have an adverse effect over time or on certain frequencies. So you got to kind of play with that slinky to get it to function properly. Well, and you have to do it the same thing on both sides, because remember, it's a dipole.
Yeah, and remember, don't get a plastic slinky for sure.
Yeah,
I think they started making those when I was little. The metal slinkies were there, but I think some are plastic now.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking a piece of wire. I'm thinking a piece of wire stretched out probably as long as the slinky. You're going to tune them both with a tuner. Wouldn't a wire work about as good?
Well, yeah. Like I said, the advantage of the slinky would be that you have more surface area exposed to the RF field. Okay, so that means that the antenna will appear to be more sensitive. So yeah, it'll give you the appearance of being noisier because it's got a lot more wire out there than the straight wire. The straight wire will give you the advantage of, if it's possibly close to the frequency that you're trying to operate on, you'll probably do better because obviously that's the key point. That's where the antenna peaks at its operational frequency or a harmonic thereof. So like 16 meters using a tuner because it's a fundamental frequency. 16 feet will work on 40 meters because it's divisible. It's a harmonic, so it'll kind of work. It won't be as efficient, but it will work, and it'll work a lot better than if we just stuck a 24-foot wire out there and tried to do the same thing with the tuner. Let
me ask you a question, Emmett, and we're kind of in a question and answer thing. I don't know if you had something prepared tonight, but we're just going to jump into a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. So and does Radio Wave sell a G5RV?
Yeah, that's one of our best sellers beyond our double bazookas.
Okay, well here's my question that I don't understand. I see people using, they get a G5RV, but then they put a tuner on it. Why do you want an antenna that I would think if you're going to put a tuner on it, you could just put anything out there, like a half-wave dipole or something.
Originally, as a matter of fact, I've had the honor and privilege of meeting with Mr. Varney, and in our discussions, his whole idea behind the G5RV was something that would fit the back of his yard, and it just happened to work out that it was efficient. It was an efficient radiator on multiple frequencies because of the different wire lengths along the way and how he did his transmatch. He designed the antenna itself to have an ATU at the bottom of that twin lead. Not a choke, not 75 feet of coax, but an actual ATU. And as a matter of fact, his ATU is a pretty cool looking ATU. It's one of those ones that once he tunes it up, he can just flip a switch and he's on the frequency that he wants to be, and he doesn't have to do anything else, and it works great. But it in itself, without having that ATU at that location, you're kind of doing yourself a little bit of a disservice. Just like David pointed out, you're actually using your coax as part of the radiating system, and that's probably the reason why on 40 meters especially, you have problems with knocking out your neighbor's TV or your wife's TV, turning on the alarm system, electrocuting the cat and the dishwasher, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at my other house, I had a window. I had a off-center fed antenna right over the roof of the house, right over the top of the house. And guess what? Mm-hmm. The people that put this alarm system in my house, all the wires were right on the very top of the house, and there was a big receiver box, and it didn't work well. I had to move the antenna back behind the house. And here's the thing, Emmett. It would always turn the fire, even if the alarm was turned. When you turn your security alarm off, you don't turn the entire alarm off. The fire stays on. There's no way to turn the fire off. Right. And I would keep calling the fire department. That's what happened with me. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, what basically happens, you have to contact whoever installed the alarm system, because they're supposed to be immune to RFI, And quite often we've discovered, we have a friend in Florida, that, not in Florida, in California, that he set up the system. Next thing you know, his alarms are going off and all that, and come to find out that the alarm company had put it in a box that wasn't RFI shielded. In other words, it wasn't properly shielded, and it was also giving off a lot of noise and so on. But here's the other thing too. If you can get your antenna as close to being resonant as possible, and you don't have these wires running parallel, generally you won't have a lot of these problems.
Yeah. And if you don't run three 813s and the wires are like 5 feet apart.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll run into you'll have that problem every time, and there's no way you can get around it. We get a lot of phone calls every day with exactly that kind of a problem. The off-center head for us, we actually would prefer that to be our most popular antenna, because it's resonant on multiple frequencies and you have a lot less problems with it. And like I said, once you get it right, it's a lot better than having an antenna that, especially if you're doing a G5RV, you're doing it because you want to operate on multiple frequencies,
right? And
you want to get out well. And what the off-center fed gives you is quasi-resonance on multiple bands, and with a simple auto coupler, you can bring in all the other frequencies. And so, when I go in the field, that is one of my antennas that I take with me all the time, is an off-center fed.
Well, Emmett, one of the things I think I can say you'll probably agree with, these are good antennas, and it's hard sometimes to keep RF out of other things like alarm systems and so forth. But I found if I ran a reasonable amount of power, 100 watts, it didn't do it. But when I started, peaking that thing up about 600, 700, 800 watts, that's when the alarms go off,
Things start changing, especially when that energy increases considerably. It's also the problem with people sometimes they say my FBRs are great at 100, but I go to 600 and all of a sudden I get, sorry, I got a phone call. You need to take it. It's okay. If you need to take it, take it. It's okay. It's not a family member, so I'm good.
Okay.
But the thing is what basically happens is the energy starts reflecting back in the antenna, and it's not necessarily the antenna's fault. It's something in the environment, and that's what we run into with HF. It's not like VHF where we can pretty much predict what the field is going to be like around the antenna. On HF, everybody's lot is different, everybody's house is different, everybody's ground is different. So we've got a lot of variables to work with and try and make things work. And so consequently, that's why the G5RV has been so popular, because a lot of people, all they do is they put the thing up there, they run the coax into their tuner, into the house, and then live with it as it is. But then again, one of my, one of my favorites, like I said, is the off-center fed, because I've taken it everywhere. I've used it a lot of different places. It's resonant. If I don't have a tuner on my antenna, quite often I don't have a problem making the antenna system work. So for me, it's no muss, no fuss kind of an environment.
Now your off-center fed, does it have that vertical piece in it, the coax that operates, the vertical piece? There's variations of this antenna, I think.
Yeah, you're talking about the Carolina window.
Yeah.
Yes. We do have a common mode choke and a 32-foot vertical radiator is what we call it. And generally what that is most people do not bring their antenna to resonance. Excuse me. And so what you'll end up doing is you'll end up getting a small amount of RFI on the outer skin of the coax. And so what we do is you put a common mode choke at about 32 feet or 16 and a half feet at the bottom of the coax to choke off any of the common mode issues that you're having. And then what that does is it isolates it and it causes it to radiate, because what is 32 feet? What is 16 and a half feet? It's a resonant component of the frequencies that we're working on with the antenna. Yep. Now, we use a current balun. We don't use a voltage balun. So we're not forcing the balance. In other words, the actual transfer of energy to the wire is a lot more efficient with with our current balun versus the voltage balun. So we don't always need that common mode choke, but it does help sometimes.
Okay. Now, did you say you had something specific prepared you want to talk about? Let's jump into it.
Oh, sure. I'm just to let you know, I'm going to Disney.
Oh, are you?
There we go. Look, next week sometime we're going to be going to. Oops, let me see. Right there. There we go. Going to go visit our good friends at Disney Emergency. I'm gonna pull up a picture here real quick. We back at Orlando Hamcation, they purchased a. Let me see. How do I do that again? I'm trying to remember how to do this. Oh, plus. There we go. Share my screen. Okay, let's go to that. We will be setting. You got? Did it go there? There we go.
It's there. Hey, I just want to welcome NN6JA John Amadeo, the director, one of the
John,
producers.
how you doing?
One of the producers of the hit TV show Last Man Standing, starring Tim Allen. He's in our chat room.
Hey, John, how you doing, big dog? But anyway, this antenna, which is our big 40-meter hex beam, they purchased that, or actually, we worked out a special thing for the club. And one of the things that we're doing with this is an actual 40-meter hex beam, so it has a full-size 40-meter 2-element component to it, as well as a 20 through 10 component. The version that we're going to be setting up at Disney, well, actually, if you look over here to the side, there'll be a piece. The spreader will actually go out at about 3 more feet, and we're adding an 80-meter short add-on. So basically what you're getting is it'll have about the gain of an 80-meter dipole, but you'll have a 15 dB front-to-back ratio, which means you can point this thing with 80 meters and actually do some pretty decent, some pretty decent things with it. So anyway, that was kind of the fun thing. Pull that up. There we go. There we go. Basically, we're going to be spending probably a couple days there. Did that come in yet?
Not. Yes, it's here.
There we go. Okay. We're going to be spending a couple days there with them, and we're going to help them set up the hex beam. We're going to put the 80-meter element onto the hex beam that they've already got, and pretty much set it up on their tower. And after that, we're going to be working with, how do I say, I'm going to be doing some land mobile work, so it's going to be kind of interesting. A couple weeks ago, we did a show in Las Vegas called IWCE, and that was really cool. It's been a long time since I've worked in the commercial market in this level, and Icom graciously invited us to participate with them in their booth with them. They were featuring one of our products, which is our hex beam. But this hex beam that you see behind me isn't your standard hex beam. It's actually a commercial version of the hex beam that's designed to work ALE and work for Icom. This is a fast deployment type antenna. Literally, you need no tools to put this antenna together. Everything has either thumb screws or wing nuts or whatever, and each of the elements on the hex beam were specifically designed or specifically cut for the operational frequency that the emergency managers need. And right there is a good friend of mine, Mike Lee, and Phil. Mike Lee is the owner of Icom 1. You probably see it every once in a while. He works in emergency services in Flagler County, Florida. Operational vehicle. I'll give you an idea. This is kind of what it looks like when we were on the road. I met up with him in Amarillo, Texas, and here they go. Well, you saw us at Hamcation, for those of you who were in Hamcation. There we go. I got one more picture for you. And then you know what? People show up in the wildest places. I wonder who these two people are. Anyone recognize these people?
I recognize
Anyone
them.
see?
I recognize them.
Yeah, she's our favorite young amateur radio operator of the year award.
Young Hammer of the Year a couple years ago.
Yep. Anyway, let's see, where was I? I'm sorry. I'm trying to read some of these some postings on the website as well as, in other words, in your chat room as we're going, because they have questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, Val came by and her dad said hi, and we spent some time together. It was really, really, really fun. She was there for another session somewhere else to do what she does best. And right after that, we were at a trade show, another trade show, which was in VCon. And there's Rochelle working with somebody who's trying to buy a Pathfinder, and she's explaining it to him. And it was a nice show. And then, of course, I'm throwing a couple real quick slides together, and guess what? That's the new Gigaparts right there in Las Vegas. We dropped by. Don't have pictures of the inside, but mainly because they want to do their grand opening, so I promised I wouldn't show what I took pictures of. So it's a neat place, though. It's kind of cool.
Cool.
Anyway, going back to a couple things, too, there's a new product that we worked on, and Tom, I saved this just for your show.
Okay.
This antenna you see on the back, you see MCOM 1. This is MCOM 1, and that was in Florida. We originally had the 40 meter Barrett on there. And oh, by the way, our 40 meter, our Barrett, our big hex beam, we named him after our grandson, the one that just had his surgery.
Okay.
The reason being is, basically a major component of whatever we get from the sale of that antenna system goes to taking care of him. And trust me, a 2-year-old with having open heart surgeries and everything else is it's a huge expense. And insurance to cover everything. We try to put as much as we can in there. But anyway, this antenna up here is what we call our Scout. And Tom, I've showed that to you a couple times, I think, in a couple other shows. Oops. Darn it. I'm trying to move through some of these things here real quick. And so that's our basic Scout. What that is it's not a hex beam. What it is it's a 20 through 10 omnidirectional dipole. And it's horizontally polarized. In other words, one feed does everything from 20 meters to 10 meters. The commercial version, similar to the one you see here, and for ALE, where they have individual channels that they try to communicate on. The advantage of this over the hex beam is that you can pop it up real quick. It's omnidirectional. It's not directional. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, are you ready for the big reveal, Tom?
I'm ready. Let's see. We're going to break news on the show here. Breaking news.
Here we go. The brand new 40 meter short Scout. So literally you can go 40 meters, 20 meters, 17, 12, 17, 15, 12, and 10 on one antenna. It takes two feeds, unfortunately. But guess what? Guess how wide this antenna is?
18 feet.
Nope, it's 9 feet by 9 feet, and it's a full dipole antenna on 20 through 10, and it's obviously a shortened dipole on 40 meters.
Wow, that is small.
And it is, and what's really nice about it, it weighs less than 10 pounds.
Wow. I need to do something like that.
And it has the gain of the dipole. Yeah, I have my new Scout next week. Yes, as a matter of fact, W5 DMT. Yes, as a matter of fact, we're building it, so that's a good thing. And yes, Katie, you just mentioned that we're coming down to Field Day, and one of the antennas that we're going to be bringing will be this antenna plus the Barrett with the 80 meter add-on, meaning that it'll be an operational directional 80 meter beam. And by the way, the 80 meter add-on is an announcement too that we're doing here on your show today.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know.
Cool.
And by the way, this is how it looks. You've got your 20 meters to 12 or 20 meters to 10. Oops, here we go. Wait for it to catch up. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. 20 meters to 10 right there. Okay. Then you have your 40 meter feed right there. And then you have a separate coaxial feed for the two. And remember, we were talking about the coaxial switches. Some people can only run one piece of coax, so they'll use a coaxial switch, and that'll work just fine. Or our preference is to just go ahead and run the two pieces of coax with a manual switch.
Okay.
So anyway, and then here, let me show you what. There's what it looks like SWR wise on the top 5 or the top frequencies, 14 through 28.
That's good.
And then here's your 40 meter. That's not too bad, is it? And that's
No,
5 feet
not
off
bad.
the ground. It actually gets better and wider as you get up higher. There we go. And then one of the things that we were going to be talking about tonight too, and I did prepare for it real quick if we've got time, is I was going to talk about seasonal preparations.
Yeah, we can do that. But first, let me throw a picture up here. And
Okay.
I need your help, Emmett. I need your help.
One moment, let me get all my pictures cleared out here.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing too. Ooh,
Okay.
Oh, yeah, John Amadeo. That's
Now listen,
perfect.
here's the deal. Here's the deal. You know, we went out to Hollywood and did a show with John out there in Hollywood. He took really good care of us, and we webcast him out there. I've had John on the show. Here he is. This is about 2 years ago. I think this was Halloween 2 years ago. We brought John in on a virtual presence device right there. And I've been begging John to come back on the show, but I think he's too busy now. I don't know what his schedule is now, but you know, maybe you can help me to convince John just to come back on the show. He's in the chat room. So tell him how much fun it is to be on our show. Tell him, Emmett.
It's a great time, and John would really enjoy it. I know he would. It's very pleasant company, which I enjoy. And I was just thinking that I've got a really nice last man standing backdrop that we sometimes use when we do special events. And what we like to do is we'll put the last man standing backdrop there. I mean, it's basically the radio room.
Well, here's my last man. Here's my last man standing backdrop right here.
I know, that's perfect. It's cardboard cutout.
No, it's not. It's actually when we were out there. I met Tim.
She's a cutout too.
No, yeah. Okay, well, John, I have to answer that. Okay, back to you now. So you're going to talk about seasonal.
Yeah, we're in that time of the year again. You know, it's springtime. The things are starting to thaw. The weather's starting to happen. Thunderstorms, lightning, very, very frightening.
You said the weather's getting better?
Anyway, yeah. But what we've looked at is it's that time that, you know, we've spent, you know, just like with you know, with antennas and radios and so on, we spend more money inside our office. In other words, if you look back here, there is a lot more money right there than there is outside, you know, outside of my shack. And I say money, I mean we've spent more money, we've invested more to make, let's just say, a better system. And by doing so, we bought a nice microphone, we bought a nice radio, we bought amplifiers, switches, processors, all those things. And we rarely think about what we really need to be doing outside. Or, you know, like I said, someone will spend $15,000 on an Icom 7851 and buy a G5RV Junior, and then I'll be getting the phone call about why, you know, his radio sounds so crappy. And I'm not dissing the G5RV Junior, but there probably could have been a better selection for the outside or a better system that would have worked for them. So anyway, let me go ahead and switch to some pictures here. I'm going to share my screen again. And this was a this last week we were helping out a good friend of ours. Just a second. The boss is texting me. I don't know what you. Okay.
Go ahead and
anyway,
take that.
We were helping out a friend of ours. A friend of ours, Ray Myers, WB0PYF, install his high power off center fed, and what he did is. One of the things that we've always suggested is when you install your antenna systems, especially wire antennas, you know, we'll get the potato guns, we'll get the hyper hangers, we'll get the launchers, and so on. And what we'll do is we'll just shoot the wire over a tree, and we won't think about, okay, how am I going to fix this thing or how am I going to service it? And one of the things that we ended up doing is we had to replace the ropes, which a good thing that he did is he put in a nice pulley system in his on a tree. This tree isn't going to go away in about a year, but you can see the pulley right about there. And that pulley is attached to a rope, and we had to replace the rope, of course. in this case, he only does this once a year. And now we're able to literally pull the antenna, hoist the center part of the antenna up, and basically, raise and lower it at will. The other thing we did is on the other side where the other trees are, what you're going to see right here is, see this right here is a branch, and it's literally being suspended by the wire. And what we literally had to do is drop the whole antenna, take those branches off, and then and put it back up again. But what we did is we left enough rope so that way when we had to drop the ends of the antenna, we were able to drop it, service it, and then pull it back up again. And that made a big difference. And some of that look at is sometimes our end insulators can be chewed on by crazy little creatures, and you're going to get that picture here in just a second. There we go. And that's kind of what happens. And this is the other reason why we want to check stuff at least once every 6 months, seasonal. If anything major happens, I recommend strongly that you check your coaxial connections, your grounding.
Emmett, I had an 80 meter loop with a ballon on it, and the squirrels about chewed my ballon off. I had to put a big piece of wire, screen, 4-inch mesh wire over it to keep them from getting in there.
I've got a good friend of mine in here in St. Louis that he's blind, and one of the things that happens is we put up this 160 antenna, and the squirrels literally ate through the wires on several occasions. And then we had to come up with some other means to take care of the problem. But one of the things that I like to grab a hold of when I'm doing a lot of this work, and you can get this at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's just a 500-foot thing of this rope, and it costs maybe $15. Has about 210 pound strength. It's not good for permanent installs, but it's good for running line. It's strong if you're out in the field and you want to just set up and not make it a permanent thing and not use your really good wire. You'll want to do that. Oh, by the way, someone just asked, how effective are your 40 meters at 50 feet? We're talking about the 40 meter hex beam, the 40 meter Scout. I'm not really sure, but the 40 meter at 50 feet works really well. The Scout works really well. If you're looking at the 40 meter, the Barrett, and you're wanting to use a rotator, we recommend the Yaesu G800 or the G1000 because it's a lot bigger antenna and it's a lot more mass to it. So you want to have that stronger rotator. But on the standard hex beam that has the 40 meter add-on, the G450A is a perfect rotator. But anyway, I'm going to go back to the non-sharing again and get rid of all these pictures. Let's see. I think we have some more questions, too. I know Katie's been dancing around, but...
Is Katie still in here? Usually this is past her bedtime. She usually drops out early.
Yeah, can you believe that?
And she's out in Wyoming.
Rocky Mountain time.
I know it.
Can you believe that? And she's already...
9:30. 7:30. Go to bed at 7:30. I don't believe it.
Yep. Actually, tagline grease is not appetizing to rodents, and it works really well. Jim, NO1PC, just made a comment, and reality is I've actually used that before, and it does work. That you have to put it on seasonally. So you constantly have to be thinking about your maintenance issues.
Cass was talking about the 40 meters short, he said.
On the hex beam? Yeah, the simple Yaesu 450 GS. I'm sorry that this thing keeps zooming in and out. Simple the 450, the G450A is more than sufficient. It will handle it without a problem. And the nice thing about it is the 40 meter short is only 21 feet in diameter, so you're looking at a turning radius of about 11 feet. Not bad for giving you 40 minutes. And as our good friend up in Nebraska, who got to play with it for the first time, discovered when he made contact with, I believe it was our good friend John Amadeo in our parking lot out at the Radio Waves facility. That wasn't too bad. And
Who was that? Was that Joe? You talking about Joe?
Yeah,
Oh,
our
okay.
buddy Joe.
All right. I was trying to go through the
Antennas
chat.
and trees, one-man line. Yeah, 2 individual pulleys, antenna ropes, lines, antenna rope is a good thing, but not, yeah. Yep.
I've got a 40-meter
Jim
delta loop. I've got a 40-meter delta loop that's stinging vertically out in my trees out there, and I know my ropes have already grown into the tree because they don't move.
Right. Those. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you service things, those antennas will not grow into the trees. And if you have a problem with the antenna growing into the trees, that means you left it up in the tree too long.
Oh yeah.
And it will have an effect on your radiation pattern and everything else. A couple of the other things that we were talking about too is let me think. I'm trying to find that for you real quick.
While you're thinking about that, you reminded me of something. In one of the military field manuals about operating radio, they actually use a tree. They use a tree for an antenna. They drive a nail. They drive a nail into the tree and use the tree for an antenna.
Yeah, it's like a gamma feed.
I guess it needs to be a live tree with some sap in it, maybe, not a dead tree, right?
Yes. Yeah. The wetter the tree, the better, and that's kind of the way it works. If you can tap into the tree a little bit higher, you're better off too.
And I understand that an aluminium tree is the best type to use.
Yep, it is. That was one of the other things I was going to talk about. One of the antenna I also use when I'm out portable. I have 2 antennas I'll generally carry with me in my go bag. It's not the G5RV. It's our off-center fed 80 meter, and then it's our Pathfinder, which is it's not an in-fed, but it's a multi-band end-fed antenna. It's not a half-wave, but it's just an in-fed all-band antenna that we designed for special operations, because we do work with special operations. We're not just bragging about it and saying that it's kind of like it. We really do build them for them. And the reason why they like it is it's a grab-and-go antenna. It's a compromise. I mean, it's not the best in the world, but guess what? When you're in the jungle or you're out in an area where you need to communicate from point A to point B, and you just can't put up this 175-foot thing to make it work, this antenna works great for them. And so that's the other antenna that I'll take with me in the future. And one of the things that we're going to be doing when we go to Orlando, I think, we're going to be actually getting the Deers station online. I think on Saturday, I think Rochelle scheduled that, which is exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also planning on doing some, it's called land mobile work. We're also going to try and get some NVIS and a couple other emergency services projects taken care of while I'm there as well.
All right. Well, I tell you, it's about 9:30. This is about when we cut the show off each night and go to our hangout.
Woohoo!
You got anything else important that you hadn't covered for tonight that was on your list?
Well, let's see. I'm going to go through the questions here and see if someone has something for me that I missed. Oh, by the way, we're thinking about. I would like to stay at the hangout, but I've got family matters I've got to take care of when I'm done here.
Yep.
But feel free to email us with your questions at sales@radiowaves.com. That's sales@radiowavz.com. The other thing you can do is, if you're interested in the Scout with the 40-meter add-on, just give Rochelle a call tomorrow or email her at sales@radiowaves.com. Whoops, there we go. And it should be, I don't know if it's on our website yet, as far as the in our shop and all that. I know the data's there, but I don't know if they've posted it yet. It'll probably be up tomorrow sometime, so if you want to go there and look at that, it'll be there as well.
All right. Very good. Go check on your grandson there.
I will.
Our thoughts and prayers are here for him, and we hope he has a fast recovery and everything works out well for him there. So, Granddad, go see him, Granddad. Go see him, Granddad, and take care of him.
All right, everybody. 7-3. Thank you very much for letting me come to visit with you, and tell Tom what you want to talk about next time I come on. I'll be more than happy to address those questions. Make it a big list. And oh, by the way, Tom, I know you're giving away as a prize one of the meters. I wanted to add that we're going to donate a DX80 Pro line to you for that purpose as well.
Oh, wait a minute. What do you mean one of the meters? Wait a minute. You're talking about for a fundraiser, or just for a prize?
No, for a fundraiser.
You know what? I don't know if I can handle two fundraisers or not, but I do want to say this.
No. Just add that to the you do a fundraiser for one thing and the same thing. It's your call how you want to handle it.
Oh, okay. Well, and Emmett, we want to thank you very much. Emmett has donated a couple of the 80 DX antennas.
Yep,
right?
DX80 Pro lines, right.
Okay, cool. And those will be some nice prizes for people out there. And we'll talk more about that other one you're talking about.
All right.
All right, thanks so much. Go be with your family, and we'll see you later.
Will do.
All right, good night.
Thank you. Have a good one, Tom.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye. 7-3.
73. All right, so let's see what's going on. First of all, let me make a quick announcement real quick before I forget it. It's late in the show, and we'll have to do this again next week. But if there's anyone here that's wanting to get their technician license and you're going up to the Hamvention, consider taking a ham radio class. Mitch Stern, W1SJ, will be presenting at Dayton a technician class. It will run Saturday, May 20th, right there at Hamvention. He's taught this course for a long time. The class is going to teach you ham radio and prepare you for the technician exam later that day. But you've got to pre-register in advance to take the class. So if you're interested to find out more about the class or to enroll in the class, go to www.hamclass.net, www.hamclass.net, or send an email to w1sj@arrl.net, and that's Mitch Stern. So just wanted to throw that out there. Also, the winner tonight of our prize, the tie wraps N6HMK. N6HMK, I think he's still in the chat room. We'll make sure that Troy has your contact information, and Troy will be sending that out to you soon. And I think it's like 100 ties plus all the other accessories there. Again, fundraiser. This is one prize we're giving away as a fundraiser for the Dayton. Our show's going to cost $3,000 to $4,000. We need to recover some of that cost. We're going to be streaming 8 hours a day for 6 days. So we're going to be streaming almost 50 solid hours of this show. And we're going to give away probably $8,000 in prizes to our viewers. You don't have to donate for prizes, just be there. But if you would like to help us out to pay some of that expense to put the show on, we're going to give you we're going to put your name in the hat for every $10 you donate. We'll put your name in the hat for the CAA 500 antenna analyzer, and this is I don't know how to describe it. This is a doozy. It's a great antenna analyzer. 1.8 megs to 500. It's the CAA 500 Mark II. It's the Comet antenna analyzer. I think everybody last year was hoping to win that, but we're going to give it away to one person. Okay, so did we get the hangout? Let's see if we got the hangout information out. Let me see if I can do hangout here. Let's see. Maybe I can copy and paste it. Okay, this should be hangout right here. I just posted hangout in the room, and if you guys will click on that, you should be able to join our hangout. Let me see if I can get into hangout and see if anybody's there. Just a couple more clicks and I should be there. I think we got a couple people in there. Let me see. All right. Hello, guys.
Hello, Tom.
Hello. Let me see if I can get you on here. Hang on. There we go. Okay. All right. We're officially in the unofficial part of the show. Let me take, you're not.
I'm not Emmett.
You're not Emmett, so let me take Emmett's name off. Boy, I tell you what, boy. Tonight, and hey, Dan's in there. Hey, Dan. Surprise me, man. Hey, let me tell you, tonight about 3 o'clock, getting ready for the show, I always test everything. And Windows did their great critical update on me yesterday, and stuff was screwed up. It took me about 2 hours to get everything working again.
Sounds like par for the course.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well, we had pretty good turnout tonight for the show, actually. We got started just a little bit late, but it turned out, I think, okay.
Yeah, it was a really good show.
Yeah. So, hey, Bill, I haven't looked lately. If you guys' names, Linux in the Ham Shack, you're going to be our neighbors up there. Are you in the spot yet? Maybe they haven't updated the paperwork.
They haven't updated the board yet. I know. I'm pretty certain that Russ sent in the payment, so they kind of got our booth already where it should be in the list.
That's good.
So hopefully we'll be listed there shortly. I'm hoping sometime early next week they'll get around to getting that updated. And we'll be 5007.
And we're 5006, and we have a pathway between us.
Yeah, we got the entryway right there.
That's good, because I don't think I could stand being just right butted up against you guys.
Well, I hope we can bring all that traffic over to see you.
Now, where'd Dan go? Dan, I was just fixing to say something to Dan, and he dropped out. You know, I don't know if he disconnected or what happened. Dan, log back in, Dan. Let's see.
Talk, Mike.
There he is. Hey, Dan.
Hey, how's it going?
Why'd you leave us?
I just dropped out.
Okay, cool. Well, this is the first time. Well, I almost said first time. First time in a long time that I've seen you join us in the hangout. You're staying awake up here. Are you on Eastern time?
Me? No, I'm on Central.
Oh, are you? Okay. Well, it's still past your bedtime. It's 9:41.
Not bad.
Well, we got a pretty good group in here tonight. We got Bill 1 up in Massachusetts. We got Dan. We got Jim. We got Jim out in California. We got who's it? Marco. Marco, you're new with us, aren't you?
Okay, Chef, give me his hand.
No, Marco. I'm talking to Marco. Marco, are you there? Hello, Marco. Hi, Marco. Maybe your mic is your mic muted? Do you have a microphone? Do you have a microphone? Let me. Hello, Marco. Okay. I guess he didn't have a mic right now. No mic for Marco. Let's see. Well, we're glad to have you. Glad to have you. And then we got Mark in there, and we got Mike up there, and the Mike. Mike's the Ooper. Ooper, right? Ooper?
Is my mic working today?
Yeah, it's working.
Yep.
Oh, I would sure wish Emmett was in. I had some questions for him. I wish he would be able to make it to hangout.
Well, look. I mean, Emmett's a smart guy, but look, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 or 6 of us on here. You asked. I bet you one of us can come up with an answer.
Well,
But
what
we
I'm
might.
looking at is
In fact, we might can come up. We might can come up with 5 different answers.
I'm getting feedback from somebody here.
Let's see. That's coming from Jim. Jim, if you can, mute your audio, please, on the show. There you go. I think you got it.
Yeah.
What was your question?
I'm my tri-bander's down. I'm not putting it up, and I'm getting ready to buy one of those MFJ cobwebs antennas just to replace it. I've seen him talk about that Scout, which is very similar to it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what his opinion was between his Scout and the cobweb.
Well, they're probably almost identical, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I
on
mean,
that way, because I don't, my rotor went. I don't want to mess with another, with my high Thunderbird high gain Thunderbird Tri-Banders down on the ground. I'm going to sell that. I don't want to mess with another rotor and put that big thing back up. I'm getting too old for those big things. I just wanted the like the cobweb to put up, but then I see him talking about his Scout, so I was they look pretty similar, and I was going to get it. I assume his opinion would be the Scout, but
Of course.
well,
Well, I mean, they're both based on the cobweb design, so they're going to be very similar performance.
yeah, I think it just means, your preference. Do you want one made up a little to the north, or you want one made down in the south?
well, let's see. I'm up here in the north, so I know. That's what I was going to try to talk to him about on that way. So
Yeah.
I wasn't that familiar with his Scout, so I'm gonna do a little more research on it.
Yeah, I think they both came out sort of at the same time. But that new one with the 40-meter element looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was the one you put the two coaxes up.
Yeah.
No,
I think so.
I already have a Radio Wave 75 double bazooka up, but he has in the Radio Wave 40-meter double bazooka up. So I don't really need the
okay.
40 up there, but
Well, I would say they're going to be very similar in performance. I mean, they're both, basically a dipole folded in on itself, so it'll give you the same performance as a dipole.
yeah, it's basically an Omni. I don't want to mess with a rotor up there now and then. On that way, I realize it won't be the same strength as a beam pointing in one way, but
I think I don't think the cobweb's Omni. I think it's like a dipole. I think it's it's one direction, isn't it? Isn't it directional like a beam?
no,
They kind of get rid of the null by folding it in on itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing with the Scout. It looks like they wrap right around, and on that way. So yeah, and you're talking about 10 pounds or less and 9 feet up there. Can just clamp it to my mast pipe on my tripod up the roof up there.
Yeah.
So we'll do some more research on that. So that was my questions I had today. Now everybody else carry on.
Yeah.
Well, you can always call them in the morning
Yeah.
at Radio Waves. They'll take your call.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I'll tell you, look, we got 6 or 7 people here in Hangout. None of you guys ever win a prize.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's up with that?
I was one of the first people in there tonight. You'd think Hambot would have seen me.
Well, now, Bill, you have won once, right? You won a prize.
Yeah,
and for ERD may have, but not WZ1 Health.
Oh, I thought you did, Bill.
No, I have never won.
Oh, wait a minute.
Of all the years.
All right, Bill number 2. You won something, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm talking on it right now.
What did you win? Was it that microphone? Was it a high mic?
Yeah, it's the same one you got right there.
This PR10, huh? Oh man, look at there. He's talking on a mic. Look at that. Woo!
I'm envious. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, all I won once with Hambot last year was a piece of rope.
Yeah, well,
You won.
I see you didn't use it. You probably got that mass strat or whatever it's called. That
Yeah. In fact, I haven't used that certificate yet from last year. I think it was $10 or $15, whatever it was.
well, you need to read the fine print on it. It might, every year it probably reduces. Kind of like some of these gift cards.
Or your Social Security.
Yeah, it probably expired.
Well, all right. Well, let's see. So you won, Mike won, and Bill number 2 won. And, well, that's 2 out of about 6. That's good.
If it's a high, I'm going to keep. If it's something to help a new Elmer or a newbie, I'm going to defer my my gift to somebody who really needs it. So, Hambot gets a deferral from me.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So if he wins that antenna analyzer, you remember that, Tom, okay?
Yeah, there's a poor person here that could use it. You know, in fact, I'll need an antenna analyzer if I buy one of those cobwebs or so.
Unless it's a Flex 6300 or a Heil mic, I'm going to defer.
Oh, look at he's already reneging.
Yeah. He only wants the good prizes, doesn't he?
Well, you got to help guys get on the air.
Well, you do.
After they get there is another matter.
Let me tell you, Katie won. We gave away one of those BHI. What do you call it? BHI speaker that's got
Like
what am I trying to say?
Yeah, like clear speech or something like that.
Yeah, it's
That's
a good part. I mean, I've listened to one of them and it cuts the noise out. Let me tell you. Anyway, Katie won one, and then she decided she didn't want to keep it, wanted to give it away. So, but that's okay. I wish she'd given it to me, but I didn't get it. In fact, I hadn't won hey, I've been on here more than any of you guys, and I've never won a prize.
What do you mean? You come back from every Hamfest, not with Hambot, but you come back with just radios and galore at every one that you go to.
Well, only if Kathy, only if Kathy puts the tickets in, I do, because I don't put anything in. We had a Hamfest here in Memphis last week, and I bought $5 worth of tickets, and I didn't win nothing. That was a waste of money.
Oh, we go.
I tell you what, I did buy something there though. I did buy something, and I didn't need it, but I bought 5 15-inch color monitors. I think they were $1.75 each. They're about this size right here. What I wanted another one to build me up another virtual presence.
Bot.
Huh?
Yeah, your bot. That's cool.
You know, I wanted to give me another one that I can do another virtual presence like this. And I think they were $1.75 a piece. And guess what? They come with a sound card, a sound speaker that disconnects off of them.
Yeah.
I've got one right here. Let me show you the speaker, the audio system. Here's the sound thing. It fits at the bottom.
Soundbar. So we need to get you hooked up with the Maker Fair, and you need to give that stuff away to a bunch of kids in the Maker stuff, making robots and things.
Yeah, me too.
That's cool.
I only really wanted one of those monitors, and I came home with, I bought 4, and he said, take the 5th one with you. And then he sent me an email. He sent me an email that night and says, I got a couple more here at the house. If you want them, they're free.
Yeah, those
can't
really give away.
If there's any Maker presence there, you need to go visit the kids and the mentors who are doing the stuff for the Maker events, and let's get the community out to them, because there's some really brilliant kids that are building Arduino kits and robots and things, but they don't know soldering, they don't know RF, they don't know wire and DC potentials that make this hobby, that make us effective here. So that's if the ARRL won't embrace the Maker folks, you and everybody else, we've got an audience out there that's just waiting for the technology to be put in their lap.
Yep.
So to that,
let me tell you,
where's my camera?
There are some smart kids out there, let me tell you.
I'm waiting to fully exercise and become an instructor at the Tech Shop Enterprise, the franchises. I took a MIG welding class, but they have a dearth of electronics training for Arduino, basic soldering, circuit analysis, and those things. So as my copious free time allows, I'm going to go attend some classes under instruction and get qualified to be an electronics instructor at Tech Shop, which they're trying to build a relationship with Maker Fair. This summer, the whole Tech Shop Enterprise is going to sponsor summer camps to bring kids in, teach them soldering, a little bit of Arduino, get kids, which I think is terrific. And if I can work in finding them some donations of service monitors, spectrum analyzers, create an RF class, I think that would be a really cool thing to do in this whole adventure.
I agree with you. I mean, I'm retired now, electrical engineer, senior member of the IEEE, and let me tell you, some of these kids, they put me to shame. I don't feel like I know anything. Of course, I guess I'm old school too. Everything I knew, it's going away. I need to go back to school.
Tom, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Proper soldering, Kirchhoff's law, and Ohm's law have not changed in a century.
Well, that's true.
Everything that makes things work, and our friend from Radio Waves, I mean, I really appreciate, this is probably one of the few, if not only, antenna makers that understands RF that's in our marketplace. When you look at Pushcraft and High Gain and all these other guys, and Comet and the Chinese, Emmett and I are going to have a serious conversation about antennas one of these days, because he gets it and he presents it honestly, and there's no crap about what he's presenting. Very real about what he's constructing and what it's going to do once you have one, which is incredibly valuable for people coming into this hobby. And you may have seen in the chat, this whole issue of gain about HF antennas is something we need. We people with experience in this stuff who help strengthen those definitions. There is no such thing as gain at HF unless you've got 5 acres and a heck of a lot of space for wire. That's not going to happen. So I'm really, really appreciative of Emmett's presence.
Well, last week on a show, I think it was last week, I tried to help some people out with something I learned many years ago, and that was Eli the Iceman. An inductance circuit versus a capacitive circuit, and the voltage leads the current, in an inductance circuit. So you remember that's Eli the Iceman. At least that's how we learned it many years ago. Hey, you say you took a course in MIG welding. I got a MIG welder out here, man. I'm a MIG welderer. Now, do you have you got your welder?
No, my neighbor, the metal magician, is on a trip to Europe right now. So when he gets back, we're going to go shop for a Lincoln. He's going to find me one. Okay. I took MIG 1. And I'm going to go take MIG 2, but this little pass lets me into the club. I can go play with the welders. I've got a specific project on my Airstream I need to deal with.
Well, and be sure you get one with the gas. Don't use the flux wire.
No. We're getting the CO2 argon combination.
Yeah. I've tried both. Let me tell you, you'll do a whole lot better with the gas.
Oh yeah, I did that back. I worked as a welder with MIG and welding back in the 70s before I got into law enforcement. I was in the assembly plants in Milwaukee with MIG welding, so I burned up 30 pounds of spool a night of that stuff on the ship.
I have to find my sample here. I have my graduation trophy. I don't know where it is. It went away.
Well, when I was in high school, I was in the FFA, Future Farmers of America. But we had shop, and I learned to electric weld there, stick welder, and I was really good with a stick welder, much better than I was when I first started with the MIG, because the MIG works a little different. But I remember in school, man, you're 16 years old and you're welding a bead there, to get graded, and all the kids around the table are shaking the table and your bead's going like crooked.
Well, I learned how to stick weld in MIG, but one I never got the hang of was TIG welding with the loom welding. That TIG I never did get. That's a whole different art.
That'll be next. When I went in 2 days later and said, well, because I've been approaching these people as being an instructor, the gal said, well, what do you want to instruct? And I said, well, electronics, of course. That's where I'm at. I said, okay. I could probably, based on at Tech Shop, you only have to attend what's called an SBU, or a safety and basic use class. Badge is entitled to go. They have readers, and you take this badge up to a lathe or welding rig or whatever else, and it allows you to turn it on. And through SBU class, you don't get to use the stuff. So everything there was industrial arts that I took in high school. You know, sheet metal brakes, sheet metal shears, lathes, those kinds of things. So I'm conversant in all that stuff, probably more than most 18-year-olds are.
Well,
so you know, for the ham projects, this is very important because if you can find a source, and I'm going to talk to them about this, for raw sheet aluminum, if you know how to lay out and punch and press and bend an aluminum box, you don't need to go buy an LMB box to stick your project in. You just need a sheet of aluminum and walk into tech shop and make your chassis, which is missing because how are you going to do that? You're going to go spend $13 on a box or $5 on a sheet of aluminum and take it to the shop and make it yourself.
Yeah. Well, when I was in the Air Force, I did a little bit of sheet metal. I built some boxes, went over to the sheet metal shop. Of course, in the Air Force, they got everything. They had this nice brake, you know, you put the metal in and you just turn it, you know, you turn it and you bend it, you know, you're 90 degrees. Perfect, man. You know, this thing would bend a piece of metal probably 12 foot wide. But you can buy these small brakes. You can buy small brakes now, you know, that are, you know, 20 inches wide, 18 inches wide.
Love to have a brake, and I'd love to have a sheet metal shear because tin or aluminum, if you're building an all-star node or a repeater box or any of the stuff, you know, buying a bud box is like 15 to 20 bucks worth of aluminum you can make in your garage if you have a garage.
Yeah. Now, I never, you know, I wasn't great with the settling welding. I could cut fine. I could braze, but that just, you know, I don't know. That just wasn't my thing, you know. So I don't have a settling rig here.
Of my pool cover system that my metal magician has fixed for me once. And tell that these two parts actually belong together. That's my next project, is to remill this chunk of brass, which makes my pool work. So
what you say? It's brass?
Out of a Midwestern cowboy is the mother of invention. You just got to do this stuff.
Oh yeah. What is that brass? Is that brass?
Oh, yeah, that's a solid chunk of brass tube that's probably been drilled out, and then there's a split pin that goes through it to cam a couple of pieces of this drive rod together. I found a replacement which I had to custom drill. This one was custom made for my pool system. And we're going to grind it down. I'm going to go to my metal guy, and we're going to rebraze it eventually. So I got a spare part. But it's fascinating that, you know, this stuff is available to anybody who wants to do it. Just melting two pieces of metal together is such an amazing process. We build today, they're all crimped and you know, like a piece of plumbing or a piece of garden hose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool stuff. I like being able to do things with these guys. Between your head and your hands, it's you know, I understand how Picasso existed.
Let me jump back to Marco. Marco, can you hear us, Marco? Shake your head yes if you can hear us, Marco. Can you hear us? Hello, Marco. Is Marco a Spanish name?
He's smiling. He's smiling.
Hola, Marco? I don't know. Hello, Marco? I think he hears us. I guess he has no microphone.
It says a mic filled.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I just want to see if Marco would jump in here and say something. So, now, Marco, is your mic muted at the bottom? Does he even have a mic? Can you tell if he's got a mic?
He doesn't have a mic icon.
I don't think he didn't have a mic icon, so. You know what? He's listening to us on the show, I think.
I guess he has no microphone.
Yeah, he's listening to us on the show. All right, cool, Marco. Let's try to guess where. Hey, everybody, let's try to guess where Marco is. Marco, We're gonna go down the line. Bill, you're next. Marco, I'm gonna guess. Are you in California?
I'm guessing Marco's in Spain.
Maybe. No. Okay, he's not in California. Okay, Bill, your turn. You got to guess next. Bill, you got to guess where he is.
I think he's in Colombia.
Colombia. Are you in Colombia?
Oh, Brazil.
Colombia.
Brazil.
No, okay, not Colombia. Spain. Are you in Spain?
Hey, Tom, he just said he was in Brazil.
Oh, did he? Bom dia. Bom dia. Bom dia. Obrigado. Okay. Let's see where the feedback's coming from. I don't know where he is now.
He's in Brazil. I just spoke to him in Portuguese. He's waving back.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I'll say bom dia. Bom dia, no?
No, bom notte.
No? Okay. Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, Arkansas.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Here's the deal. Okay. One question.
Yeah.
One question. Marco, are you in the United States? Are you in the United States?
Tom, he's in Brazil.
He's in Brazil, Tom.
Oh, I thought he said he wasn't.
No, he's in Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. He didn't respond to my my Portuguese.
He's being shy.
One question. Marco, are you in the United States?
Somebody's got the feed running there too.
Yeah, I wonder who. I'm trying to see who that's coming from. It may be coming from. I don't know.
I don't see anybody lighting up on that.
I don't either. Oh boy. Okay. Marco, a sign.
No, he said it. Brazil, southern Brazil.
Okay, southern Brazil. Southern Brazil.
I was muted.
Southern Brazil. Cool. All right. I don't get to go to Brazil anymore. I used to be down here about every 6 months in my other job, but since I've retired now, I don't go anywhere.
Well, speaking of going, it's after 11 here, and I got stuff I got to do. And my wife just informed me one of my sisters was in the hospital, so I'm gonna have to go find out what's going on with her.
Yeah.
No, Mike. You know, we have to get that hex off of you. You got so much going on, man.
Yeah. This is my sister that's down by Dallas. So.
Man, sorry about that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, she's got a heart. And what do they call that? Racing heart. Thing. So.
Fibble, whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to control
Defibrillation.
Atrial fibble. We need Doc in here.
Atrial defibrillation.
Yeah, just what you said, though. So.
Oh man.
I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll catch you guys next week.
I probably not.
Later,
I'm not going to stay in here much longer.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
73 from KE8IL here in Marquette.
You know, it's somewhere. I just seen something about doctors and health care. That the insurance companies are helping out more.
Well, we need Doc.
Well, they want us.
We need Doc in here.
They want us healthy, so we don't suck up all the medicines, diagnostic, and ER time.
Yeah,
I get that.
You know, Marco, he's not even in the chat room. He may not know we have a chat room.
Yeah, we have. Do I still have chat up here? No, where is it?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, it's up here.
So, Tom, you looking forward to dating in the new location?
No, not really, but you know, we'll make it. We'll make it. We'll make it good. We're going to be kind of cramped. We only got one small spot there. That's all we can get this year. So, but we'll make it work. You know, we're in the same building with Bob, Ohio Sound there, and there's only like 35 booths in there. And if some people have 2 or 3 booths, that means there's going to be maybe 20 vendors in there total.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's going to be. We'll try to get out and go to some of the other buildings. It won't be as easy as you know, rolling our cart around inside Hera. But we're getting set up with internet in all the buildings, so we will have access. So if we can get over the other one, if it's not pouring down rain and we don't want to, you know, get our stuff wet going from building to building, then we'll try to get to some of the other buildings.
Well, that's what you're all about, Tom. Is getting coverage, and so is you know, Ham Nation and Isles Twit TV stuff, and Gary Pierce. So you got to be present.
Yeah, I mean,
well, it should be easy enough to go in and out of the building because they're a newer building. They, you know, all the thresholds are a lot better probably than Hera had for thresholds going through the doors. But they weren't that bad.
But there's no roof after you go out the door, and you have to walk like a third of an acre.
Oh yeah, right. That is the other than them 3 buildings that are got that rough running between the 3 of them. Those 3 buildings that are, when you look at the courtyard there, just above them, and them 3 are tied together with a canopy. But yeah, the balance of them, there is not even a, I don't think there is even a awning over the door when you just go out. You're going to get an umbrella or something after you get outside. I mean, you walk up the door and that's it. You're out in the elements.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know,
that tent 6 that they added, that thing is just huge.
Well,
that's like one of them that we have up here at Air Venture.
That's 2 tents side by side, Dan. It's 2 60 by 130. They're butted side by side.
Okay.
So that'll be what? That'll be 120 by 130.
Yeah, 120 by 130.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Yep. Well, yeah, our webcam. I mean, you know, I mean, I just really didn't think a lot about it until today when I was thinking about our show. But if we go live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and go and also live on our trip back, that's 6 days at least 8 hours minimum. So we're talking about 50 hours of broadcast from on this trip.
Well, I'll let you know how those tents are.
But you got a booth in the
tent? Ron, you're over in the big tent?
Yeah, I'm over in the infamous Building 6.
You're not right in the center between the 2 of them, are you, where it slopes down in the center on each side, right on top of you, are you?
I'm sort of in the, no, I'm more toward the outside of the second one.
Yeah. Well, they put us in a good spot there in Building 5. They told us, they said, look, we're going to put you in Building 5 there. You got a bathroom. Just walk out that door over to the next building, and there's a bathroom there. And I think it's got 1 toilet in it.
Yeah.
Now, the 3 buildings up at the front, I think they've got 3 toilets in them. Now, I don't know where they're going to put all the portables.
as opposed to the Hera Arena that was just one big tournament.
Yeah. Well, I'm not complaining about. I really didn't really complain about Hera. It was fun for me always going up there, and there were some cleaner bathrooms instead of the ones right outside the arena there. Up toward the front door, there were some pretty clean bathrooms.
No, as long as the customers can find us, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
As long as the customers can find us. I only had 2 worries. And I suppose I shouldn't be worried about whether the customers can find us, because nobody's going to be able to find anything.
It's going to be different, that's for sure. Here we are right here. There we are there, and Bill, is Bill gone? Oh, Bill's still with us? Bill and is going to be in 5007 across the aisle from us there with Linux and Ham Shack, but we're going to be in 5006.
Yeah, we're in the 67s, I believe. 67s or 62s. Now I got to go find it.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't do shack pictures. We ran late night. I didn't do shack pictures. Hey, I found out who the owner of this shack is right here. I found the guy. I'm gonna have him on the show here pretty soon. Nice. Let me tell you, this is nothing compared to all the stuff he's got there. I've got here's a more recent picture. Let's see. Yeah. But he's got some commercial AM transmitters in the garage that he uses for AM, and they're big transmitters. Doug is asking how many tents will be at Hamvention. Doug, they're putting for inside vendors, they're putting 2 big tents side by side. They're 60 by 130 feet each, side by side. So that's considered one building. And I think Ron, is that building 7? Is that 7? That's 6. Building 6, they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, building 6. Now, out in the flea market area, there'll be all kinds of tents and stuff out in the flea market, but you got to bring your own.
Well, yeah, I heard Middleton, I think. And there's one guy out of Mansfield. He has the Raspberry Pis, and he has a lot of electronic closeout stuff. And he told me he's going to be between the buildings south of that courtyard, I believe. And Middleton is going to have their big tent there.
Yeah, so it sounds like there'll be a bunch of tents. My only concern with the tent, and I have no idea how this is going to work, is, I guess I'm going to have to bring some pallets or slats or something to keep the stuff off the ground.
Well,
you're on a parking lot. That's on the parking lot there where you'll be.
Well, let me tell you, I was out. Hey, I was outside. I've been outside for 33 years there on the parking lot. And
remember that?
And most time, next to Bill there. And most time, almost every week we were there, we would have at least 4 to 5 inches of water flowing through our shelter there. So we always put raised flooring in there. So.
Well, you put pallets down. You probably put.
Yeah, pallets, and we ended up making some plywood floors with some runners nailed below them, and that at least would let the water go under us.
Right, like falling water. You have that waterfall that goes right through the house. You get fill on top of the water.
A false pallet floor might not be a bad idea.
Well, we always carried a floor. We used to carry carpet up here and put carpet down too. Foam, the padding.
The drainage out there, Tom. You remember when it was a cow pasture? It was bad many years. Believe me. Oh, Lord have mercy.
And let me tell you, hey, if the flood don't get you outside, the 75-mile-an-hour winds will. Your tent will end up. Your tent will end up.
Pictures from the mid-1970s.
Yeah, your tent will end up 2 rows over. I saw Bill there. I saw his tent go two streets over one day.
Mm-hmm. We had to chase that rascal.
Well, I got pictures from the 70s of Amy and I trying to drag our car out of the mud back when, before it was when it was an orchard, before it was a golf course.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you used to be able to park in the orchard.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So
That was back when it was in April, wasn't it, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to Dayton for a lot of years, and then there was probably about from the late 60s, early 70s on, and then there were probably about 10 years that I didn't go at all, and then we started going as a vendor. So I had a little break there in the middle.
Yep.
I know Icom has their own. I think they're going to bring their own tenant. Looks like maybe.
I think they've got 2 locations, and one of them is a tent, and one of them. Pardon me.
Who was that? Who'd you say?
Icom.
Yeah, they're going to be in 2 different buildings.
Mm.
They got the northwest corner or the northeast corner of the parking lot. The west parking lot, west of the building, southwest of the 3 big buildings there, and
That's 7. That tent 7, I think. The northeast.
Right,
that's
the tent.
Yeah, that's not a booth. They're parking at van. They're parking at that Ecom van there.
Okay, in the corner. Okay.
Yeah, in the corner of that tent, northeast corner, they're parking that Ecom van there, and they're going to be up in the other buildings for their booth.
Yeah, I just seen that a little square there.
Yeah.
Well, as long as long as the customers come by, that's all I can say.
Well, I was just thinking. Think of the cost it's costing. I mean, they're going to put power out there to every one of you guys under that tent, and that's not an easy thing. You don't just run an extension cord out there to each of those booths. You got to put some major power distribution out there and lay those cables on the ground out there. And hopefully, I mean, they got to know what they're doing, or people are going to get shocked.
Well, as long as the customers come through, as long as they actually come out there and they don't just stay in the buildings.
You probably will have more traffic under that tent there than the other buildings, because other buildings are small, and it's just the building, the tent you're in is very large. I think there'll be a lot of people. I think that one might pick up more people than the others. I'm a little concerned about ours being so small, the building we're in.
Yeah, some of the buildings are smaller than others. Yours is a small one, and then there's the 3 that are sort of like a fan on north of you.
Yep.
But them tents, I think Bob or Ken Duffy, I think it was Bob, I can't recall which one, was saying that, they put them up out in Las Vegas, they put them up, and they're normally white, I think. So if they're white, you'll during the day when you have the sun out, you're gonna have more light in there than you'll in them buildings.
Mocha chocolate frosting.
Yeah, during AirVenture we have up here in Wisconsin, and they put those huge tents up, and it's just amazing how big them things are.
Yep.
It's just absolutely amazing. And the accommodations, you wouldn't even guess it's a tent. That's my guess is what they're putting up there.
Yeah, well, I would think. Yeah, they were like an aluminum frame structure, like they're a building just about.
Yep, they're just about like a building.
Oh, you're talking about for Oshkosh?
Yeah, for Oshkosh, yeah.
Oh man, I haven't been there in a long time.
I'm the chairman of admissions there. So.
Used to go up there with my father-in-law, but he passed away in, I think, 1980. So it's been a really long time.
It's a lot of fun.
I grew up in Wisconsin. The EAA is a bucket list to return juice out here.
It is a lot of fun, let me tell you. The attendance there is just absolutely amazing.
Phenomenal. phenomenal. But it's a great venue. Oshkosh and that whole area is absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. 770,000 last year.
Wow.
Yep, it's some of the best, most beautiful part of the country.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's amazing the ground will hold that many people up here.
Oh, it's 2.5 miles wide by 3.5 miles long.
Well, I bet that place sinks probably a foot while y'all are up here.
I'm bringing the Airstream out. We're going to hang out outside of town someplace. It's a must do event.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's getting really late. I probably should stop the webcast here. We still have a few people in the chat room watching or listening to us. 34 people in there. Well, I need to make them go to bed. I need to go get me a peanut butter sandwich, relax a few minutes.
I got my
dinner thing,
earbuds in so we don't get feedback.
Ron, what are you doing there?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
I am reassembling my son's video game.
Oh, okay.
This is
you got Marco worried down there in Brazil. He wants to know what you're up to.
The Sony PS3, and it's got a bad optical drive in it, bad Blu-ray drive.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And we kind of took it out and cleaned it. Now we're putting it back together. So that's what I've been doing pretty much the whole time I've been sitting here. It looks like I've been doing something down on the.
What you need to do is get out the arc welder and the blowtorch.
Never open it ever again.
Yeah, that'll do it. Get the arc welder and the blowtorch. Oh. Well, I did do a little ham radio project this week. And
So today was the what was it? World Amateur Radio.
Amateur Radio Day. Amateur Radio Day.
Yeah.
That's going on now. It's still going. If you want to check in, they're still rolling at it. Nasty's up there right now running. They're going to be done at 10, but they're still going.
I don't have a big fancy HF station. I've just got kind of a little transceiver on one corner of the desk, and it's not a very up-to-date one. It's nearly 30 years old.
Well.
And I look at all this new stuff and finding better things.
I'll bet you it sounds exactly like any of these other new ones.
And I saw advertised that R&L Electronics, I think, was selling for $20 for $19.95. These little SDR USB sticks.
Yeah.
So I got the idea that I could take one of those, and instead of, because it goes from about 25 megahertz up to about 1.7 gig. And, I need some kind of a down converter, and I wanted to use it on HF, and it would still have no front end to speak of. So instead, I got the idea that I ought to be able to connect it to the IF of my existing HF radio and use the thing as a panel.
Yep.
And it, not only does it work amazingly well as a pan adapter, but because it's not just a pan adapter, it's got the whole audio chain and everything else in it. It works very nicely as a full signal receiver. So I can even take it a step further. And if I've got Ham Radio Deluxe running in the background, it can transfer band and frequency information from the radio to the pin adapter. So now I can exactly what frequency I'm listening to and what mode I'm in and all this good stuff that you got with all these fancy new radios with my 30-year-old transceiver and something I bought online for $20.
I saw your pictures. They look good. All right, guys, I'm out of here. 73, everybody. We'll see you next week. See you next week.
Yep.
Y'all can stay on here and talk all night if you want to.
Getting late.
All right, 73 to everybody. We'll see you later.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.